It's like a third of what I've read, which I didn't realize I was reading that much nonfiction, which I don't boast, but I mean, I'm proud of myself. Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a quarter-end review for the first quarter of 2020. The point of this video is just to wrap up my reading over this first 3 months of the year. Overall, I read, I think it was 60 books. Objectively speaking, when we look at my rating scale, it wasn't that bad. I have a lot of 4 stars and then a good amount of 4.5 and 5 stars. If you combine 4.5 and 5, you will have just as many, if not more, 4 stars as that. You can also notice there's a lot of 3.5 stars. I'm beginning to realize that I think my rating approach might be a little too liberal, in that I clearly am being too generous. Maybe my 3.5 should be 3s. Maybe my 3s should be 2s and my 2s should be 1s. It's really hard for me to give a 1. I mean, if I'm giving a 1, clearly I DNF'd it, so why would I be rating it in the first place? Usually if I DNF a book, I still give it a 2-star. I have to reassess my rating scale here because I still feel like it's a little too liberal for me, and it's not really giving a good range of enjoyment based off everything that I'm reading. Everything can't be that good. Looking at my genres, you can notice there's a good array of genres here. I've color-coded it slightly based off of subgenres. Like if we look at nonfiction, which are shades of yellow, you can see that most of those were memoirs. I've come to realize that I really enjoy memoirs. And in fact, if you combine all of my nonfiction, it's like a third of what I've read, which I didn't realize I was reading that much nonfiction. I don't boast, but I mean, I'm proud of myself. I didn't realize I was doing that. I do try and read one of each genre each month. So the fact that I'm reading a third of my reading is that, I feel like is a good portion. The more I read it, it looks like I'm growing to like it, especially memoirs. The next highest there would be general nonfiction, which is just because it's general. And then we have a few history and science, politics and science. And then if we break down into the next highest would be sci-fi. Below that we have fantasy, which is actually after memoir. And we could include historical, literary, and classical all in one, which I put it in shades of green, because to me they do sort of all fit in the same little niche, which is books that I want to read because they appeal to me on some level, but books that often are harder for me to understand, to follow, to get engaged with, and to enjoy. So like I read things for different reasons. I'm not reading these books right here necessarily because I expect it to be Harry Potter. I want something else from these books usually, and so I sort of put that in that little section. And then I took a break from horror at the beginning of there just because I read so much of it towards the end of the last year. I'm trying to get back into it, and I've also made mystery thriller sort of a different shade of red to show that. So those are both very small, and hopefully that'll grow at the end of the year. Thrillers and mysteries, my problem there, the reason I haven't read more is because it's still new to me. Before I started watching BookTube, I didn't really try thrillers that much. The most thriller-esque thing that I read were horror. I'm still trying to test the waters to see which type of thrillers I like, so maybe I'm a little bit hesitant to pick them up. Then if we look at where I'm getting my books from, most of them come from my physical TBR, which is to say these are books that I read that I already own physically, which is my main criteria for when I choose a book to read. I try to choose one that I already own. The next highest will be newest, which would be books that I bought this year, 2020. And part of that again is because I want to own them once I've read them. And then unowned will be e-arcs, as well as audiobooks that I've read that I don't own. I want to read it sooner rather than later via audio, but I want to save money on the physical copy, so I'll wait for it to decrease in price. And the next one will be reread, which I haven't reread that many books this year, which I'd like to do more of. Breaking down further still, you can see that most of my books are 400 pages or less. I would like to read more longer books, but maybe the problem here is just that I'm reading so many books that naturally the majority of them are going to be average length, but I would still like to see that those numbers increase. And then other than that, you can look at the years that I've been reading. It's important to note the scale bar here, which is to say the years, they're not equal. Like we saw it for 2020 and then 2019 and then 2016 and 2018, which seems higher than the other two, but really because it's 16, 17, 18, those are 3 years in one. So you can see that I haven't read as many for each of those respective years probably. And then before that, the 5 years preceding 2015 to 2011, you see a drop because I'm just not reading that many books from the 2010s. And the same can be said for the 1950s to the 2000s, and then barely any before 1950, which I think really just speaks to the fact that I'm only reading a few classics. Okay, and just to highlight my 5-star reads, there were 12 of them exactly. These were the 5-star reads that I had. How I know it isn't so a book about how to overcome internal bias. It's nonfiction. Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. A series of essays about trying to be a feminist, basically. It was very good, as was Not That Bad. A series of essays edited by Roxane Gay about women and men and non-binary people's experiences with sexual harassment and assault. The Fated Sky, book 2, the Lady Astronaut series. Absolutely love this. Mary Robinette Cowell, you have to read this. Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Love this so much. Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire. Of course, loved it. Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. Oh my god, I love this. Actually, oh no. Oops, I read Scythe in April. You didn't hear that. So Scythe, I love this. I can't wait to read the next two, which I haven't already read, of course not. And then The Battle of Black Tom by Victor Laval, which I loved. It is the only horror book that I've read, at least in this quarter, that I gave 5 stars to. Now, there are a few 4.5 stars that I'm going to highlight here, just that I really loved, even though I did give them full 4 or 5 stars. This one's going to be In an Absent Dream by Shauna McGuire, book 4 of the Wayward Children series, which I loved. I guess not as much as the newest one. Did not realize I gave any of them 4.5 stars. I crawl through it. I talk about this in my March wrap-up. I was in love with this, even though I didn't give it 5 stars. The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson, which is about the black migration during the Jim Crow era, from the South to the North and West to escape Jim Crow. Fantastic, highly recommend. That concludes end of the first quarter review of 2020. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know which books were your favorite, and remember, stay safe, stay home. Goodbye.